Thank you very much, everybody. My friends, I'd like to thank who have come down from the seacoast. Not surprisingly, they're sitting over at the bar. We've been open for another half an hour, guys. Good afternoon. I'm Bill Binnie. I'm running for the United States Senate. I'd like to talk to you today, have a conversation about what I think is going wrong with America, and share with you my thoughts on how we can turn it around. I've spent my whole life doing turnarounds, dealing with tough problems. But I'd like to start at the beginning and tell you a little bit about myself. My mom and dad, they came to America when I was a little boy and immigrated here. I'm the proud son of immigrants. My dad was a janitor. He was severely handicapped in an industrial accident. My mom worked nights. They often worked 2 jobs to make ends meet. Their goal was to see their children educated, and they succeeded. They buried a child, my brother, before they passed. No parent should ever do that. By every measure, they've had a hard life. I think everyone in this room would agree. But they taught me one thing, and one thing that stays with me today, and that we are all terribly lucky to have come to America, that this is the greatest place on earth. That life's lesson has stayed with me my whole life. Along the way, I went to school. I worked as a mechanic, that was said earlier. In fact, true story, on the way in here, there's a 1934 Deuce Coupe in Tilton. I made my wife stop in, and we were a few minutes late, so she's not surprised. And I'm not telling anybody where it is in the barn because I'm going back later to get it. But along the way, I worked my way through school as a mechanic, and I still do it today. Most weekends, if I'm not here in Franklin, you'll find me in the garage at home. And I promise you I have absolutely the best Snap-on box in the whole state. I'm very proud of that. But I met my wife, Nina. We've been married for 21 years, lived on the seacoast for 20. We've got 4 great kids, and they've been very patient. And all of the people who do this, I have to tell you, it's awfully stressful on the families. And I must say that I have a lot of respect for every person who runs for office, Democrat or Republican. You see, I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman. That's really how I think of myself. I've been involved in global businesses all around the world and in small businesses. I know what it's like to have a small business because I own one. I know the problems that we're all facing, each and every one of us. And I think that the issues that our country is facing right now, today, start and end with jobs and economic insecurity. I know that a lot of us out there are dealing with all kinds of issues. We've seen friends and neighbors lose their job. In some cases, it's even closer to home than that. We see our children graduate from high school and college, have to leave the state because there's no opportunity at home. They're real issues. I'm concerned. Do me a favor, please, raise your hand if you're concerned about what's going on in Washington. If you're concerned, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'm running for the United States Senate. If President Obama in his campaign talked about hope, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about reality. The reality is that we're all concerned. We wonder about the direction our country is going. Where's the common sense that we all thought we all had that seems to be lost when people go to Washington? I can honestly tell you, a year ago, I never thought I'd be up here talking to you about this. I've created thousands of jobs in my life. I know what it takes to build a job and build a company. You do it one at a time. You do it listening to people, solving problems. It happens slowly and painstakingly. It's not easy. We can do better. We must do better than what's going on now. Now, the thing to remember, I believe, now more than ever, is that America is not about money or things on a balance sheet. America is about ideals. There are things in our heart and ideas in our mind that give us clarity of purpose. It means that we can win. It means we will work hard. It means that we will overcome. And I promise you one thing, everybody in this room, I promise you, we will overcome what we're dealing with now. Our country has been in much darker situations than we face right now, and we have won. That optimism that we will win, that we will overcome, that optimism is what brought my parents to this country. It's what brought all of your ancestors and all of your families to this country. That optimism is what we must remember now more than ever. I don't need to burden you with the details of debt and deficits. I'll bet you every one of you knows in your heart and your gut that our country is headed the wrong way. You don't need to know that with numbers. As they would say, the numbers speak for themselves. You all, in your common sense way, know that what they're doing in Washington is wrong. And I want to go to Washington and change that and bring your common sense to Washington. It's that simple. Now, there are things we can do and there are things we shouldn't do. Now, right now, we're spending money on foreign aid to countries so that they'll like us. That's wrong. Right now, our state is one of the very few in the country that doesn't have a major VA hospital. That's wrong. Right now, we put $20 billion in Chrysler and we turned around and we gave the stock away for $1 to an Italian company, Fiat. That's wrong. If I'm elected, I promise you one thing. You know, the economists have this expression, it's called 10 and 10. China gets 10% growth and the United States gets 10% unemployment. That's wrong. I know about China. I've spent 6 months of my life there dealing with them. They manipulate their currency. They steal our jobs. We need to insist on free and fair trade. And if I'm in the Senate, I promise you that'll happen. At the end of the day, we have some serious problems that need to be worked on by people who've seen the real world and built jobs. That's why I volunteer. I worked hard my whole life. My name is Bill Binnie. I'm running for the United States Senate. Thank you very much.